Good morning, Pilgrim Lutheran. Thank you so much, fourth and fifth graders, for starting chapel off for us. That was so wonderful. My name is Miss Carissa.
I'm Miss Katie.
And I'm Miss Emily.
We are so excited to be with you guys this morning. We are from an organization, like Principal Chris said, called Exodus World Service. And Exodus is an organization that welcomes refugees to Chicago and makes sure that they have friends and that they feel connected here. So we heard that you guys have been learning about refugees. We heard that you guys are even collecting special items so that you guys can make refugees feel welcome. And we're excited to keep talking about refugees with you guys this morning. But actually, guys, first, there's something that I've been thinking about a lot this morning and that I'm actually pretty nervous about and even a little embarrassed about.
Oh no, what's going on, Carissa?
Well, guys, as you know, tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and I get to go on a trip for Thanksgiving. My family lives in Ohio, and I get to go visit them, but I'm leaving this afternoon, right after this, and actually, I haven't packed yet.
Oh my gosh, Carissa, what are you gonna do?
Yeah, I know, it's really embarrassing, but we've been so busy at work with so many refugees coming in, and I'm really indecisive. I can never decide what to pack. Are you guys going anywhere for Thanksgiving?
I don't think, are you?
No, I'm staying here for Thanksgiving.
My gosh, are any of you guys going anywhere for Thanksgiving?
No.
Oh, okay, guys. If you're going somewhere for Thanksgiving, why don't you turn to your neighbor and tell them if you're going anywhere for Thanksgiving or if you're staying here?
Oh.
Okay, guys, great. It sounds like some of you are going places. It sounds like some of you are staying here. Okay, and now I want to hear from the kids who get to go on a trip from Thanksgiving. Raise your hand if you or your parent has packed your suitcase yet. Okay,
Good job.
Looks like we have some kids who are pretty prepared in here. So, you know what, Emily and Katie, I know this is kind of crazy, but I'm wondering if this morning you guys could actually help me pack my bags for Thanksgiving. Do you guys think you can help me with that? Okay, great. Thank you so much. So I'm gonna go ahead and say some items that I might pack with me, but also if you guys raise your hands and sit nicely, then Miss Emily might call on you and you'll get to make a suggestion what I should pack. But I'm gonna start with maybe, do you think I should pack a sweater? Some clothes to wear? Yes? Okay, that sounds like a good idea. I'll pack these ones. What about my toothbrush? Okay, that's a good one. Okay. Oh, that's a good one. I have some hand sanitizer. We're in a pandemic. Okay, what about this can of beans? Do you think I need? Okay, I'm feeling mixed. This kind of mixed signals on the beans. I don't think I'm gonna do the beans.
Maybe not.
A book, oh my goodness, what a great idea. I always take a book with me anytime I go on a trip, so I'm definitely gonna take a book. Okay, what about some shoes? Yeah, I think I need some shoes. Okay, what about 24 pencils? Do you think I need that many pencils? Okay, you know what? I don't think I'm gonna bring that many pencils. What was it? Okay, we have a suggestion to pack the beans. My parents might appreciate that for Thanksgiving. Okay, guys, what about this tennis racket? Okay. You know, I don't think I'm gonna need the tennis racket, but some pants? Yeah. I'm gonna need some pants. What about tambourine? We have some kids that are wanting me to play music over Thanksgiving for my family, I guess. It's a nice tambourine. Okay, what about pajamas? Yeah, I'm gonna need pajamas. And okay, Emily, do you have a suggestion? Okay, and then last thing, what about some socks? Okay. All right, guys, thank you so much for helping me pack. Katie, do you think I got everything?
You have a lot of good things, but I don't see any shampoo or any floss.
Wow, okay. Thank you so much. You know what, guys? I think that I did forget some things in my bag here, but you know what? I think it's okay because I know that at the end of this trip, that I actually get to go back to my home and I get to get all those things that I might have missed.
Yeah, that's true. And there's some people around the world who are forced to flee their homes and they don't get to come back. And these people are called refugees. And I heard that you guys have been learning about how Jesus is a refugee. Yeah. Do you guys remember the story of Jesus' journey to Egypt as a baby? And remember, the king didn't like Jesus very much. So an angel told his family that they needed to leave their home immediately. And then if you want to go to the next slide. And so in Matthew 2:15a, we read that when they had gone, an angel of the Lord appeared to Joseph in a dream. "Get up," he said, "take the child and his mother and escape to Egypt. Stay there until I tell you, for Herod is going to search for the child to kill him." So he got up, took the child and his mother during the night, and left for Egypt, where he stayed until the death of Herod.
That's pretty crazy. Jesus had to leave for a big trip in the middle of the night, and he didn't know if he was ever going to get to go home.
Yeah. Quietly and to yourself, I want you guys to think about what you would bring from your home if you had to pack your bags and didn't know if you would be able to come back. That's what Jesus had to do, and that's what refugees all over the world have to do. Refugees are people who are forced to flee their homes because they're unsafe and people are trying to hurt them. They leave their homes and their country, and sometimes they wait years and years and years to find a new place to call home.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty difficult. Carissa, I actually have a question for you. This will be on the next slide. Do you know how many refugees there are around the world today? So I'll give you a few options. So are there A, 80,000 refugees around the world? Are there B, 1 million refugees? C, 15 million? Or are there D, 26 million refugees currently around the world today?
Those are pretty big numbers. 80,000, that's as big as, I think, the biggest stadium I've ever been in. 1 million or 15 million? I don't know. What do you guys think? Okay, thanks, guys. We'll bring it back in. You know what? I'm gonna guess C. There's 15 million refugees in the world today.
15 million, that's a good guess. So the correct answer is actually D. Yeah, a lot of you guessed it right. There's currently 26 million refugees around the world today. And many of these refugees are currently still waiting for a new home.
That's a pretty big number, Katie.
There's a lot of people who are without homes as they wait. And I have another question for you, Carissa, which will be on the next slide. How long does it take for a refugee to wait to find a new home?
I don't know, Emily.
Do you think it's 10 months or 3 years? Do you think it's 8 years or do you think it's 17 years?
So 10 months, that's longer than the school year. So that would be a pretty long time. 3 years or 8 years? I don't know. What do you guys think?
I hear a lot of 8 years.
I hear a lot of 8 years. Okay, guys, quiet. I'm going to guess that it's C, 8 years.
So the correct answer is actually D, 17 years. So if you guys think about that, 17 years is a long time to wait for a new home. So if you're in kindergarten and you added 17 to your current age, you might be around 23 years old. You would be an adult. Isn't that pretty wild? And if you're in 8th grade, you might be almost 30 years old. That's a really, really long time to wait. And many of these families who are waiting for new homes actually have to spend a lot of time waiting in refugee camps.
And if you want to go to the next slide, I know a lot of this is fun and games, but a lot of the times they have to wait in conditions like this. This is what a refugee camp looks like. There's also urban refugee camps, which is on the next slide, which would look like that. And a lot of these times, the conditions are really bad and they don't get access to heat or water.
I can't imagine having to live like that, especially for so long. But guys, I actually heard that refugees, after they spend years waiting in camps like this, they actually get to come right here to Chicago. Is that true?
Yeah, so we have many new refugees arriving here in Chicago every single day. So Emily, do you know where these families are coming from?
So if you want to go to the next slide, we're having a lot of families that are coming from the Congo, which is a country in Africa, in Central Africa, and Eritrea, which is found in North Africa. We have Bhutan, which is in Asia, and then Afghanistan, which is in the Middle East.
Yeah, and there's also a lot of families that are coming from Myanmar. So you can go to the next slide.
Yeah, so if you guys, that's where all our refugees are coming from.
And so the next slide, so you can see Myanmar. We have many families that we work with who are Burmese. So we might say they're from Myanmar or from Burma. And so speaking of Myanmar, we wanted to share the story of one of our good friends. Her name is Par, and she also works on staff with us at Exodus. And she came here to Chicago as a refugee. And she really wanted to be here today to talk to all of you. But like you guys, she's also a student and she's very, very busy. So she filmed a special video for all of you to share a bit of her story. So we'll just take a few minutes to listen to Par's story.
Hi, Pilgrim Lutheran. This is Par. I moved here when I was 12 years old from a country called Myanmar, which is also known as Burma. I left Myanmar when I was
We'll just wait quietly while we're able to get sound for our video. Thank you, guys.
Hi, Pilgrim Lutheran. This is Par. I moved here when I was 12 years old from a country called Myanmar, which is also known as Burma. I left Myanmar when I was about 10 years old and we moved to Malaysia and lived there for 3 years before coming here. We had to leave Myanmar because it was very unsafe for my family to live there. So my parents wanted a better life and education for me and my brother. Coming here though, my family and I only brought a few clothes with important documents, so I couldn't bring any toys or any things that were important to me. So it was very sad for me. Coming to a new place, it was very difficult when we first arrived here because I wasn't familiar with the food, the language, and the culture. So I hated the school lunch so much. So I would starve myself for the whole day and only eat at home after school. And learning English was also very difficult because the language was very hard and everyone spoke so fast, and adapting into the new culture was hard because I barely had friends and I was afraid of new things. However, I had a few friends who are from Burma in my school and neighborhood, so I felt comfortable. And I also had a teacher who was a refugee, so she understood my struggles and experience. Despite the support I got, I was always lonely and didn't ask for help much. And right now, I am currently attending Aurora University, studying social work, and also I work at Exodus World Service in a school district 200 as a part-time. I like to help my community as much as I can, and I always try to make time for others despite being so busy with many other things. So now that you have heard a little bit about my story, I just want to encourage all of you to welcome others who are different than you. So here are some of the ways that you can do are to have empathy, which means to be kind and caring for those who are different from you, and just try to put yourself in their shoes, meaning like how would you feel if you were them? How would you feel if you were in a different culture, country with the language you're not familiar with? So lastly, I just want to tell you guys to treat others the way you want to be treated. And that is all I have to say. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope you have a great day. Thank you. Bye. Hi, Pilgrim. Hi,
Thanks for listening to our friend Par's story. Just wanted to share a few key points that she mentioned. She said that when she moved here from Myanmar, she didn't get to bring any of her toys with her. She had to leave pretty quickly. She talked about when she moved here to a new school, it was really difficult for her because the food was really different. She didn't know English, so that was really hard for her to understand when people were speaking so quickly. People dressed differently than her, and it was really hard for her to make friends when she came here. Another thing that stood out to me is that now she works for Exodus, and she spends a lot of her time giving back. So I think that just goes to show that even when we go through really hard things, God can still use our stories in really powerful ways. And so the last thing that Par really touched on was that we can be really kind and caring to those who are new to our schools, to those that are different from us, and that's really what Jesus calls us to do. So I have a question for you guys. Do you guys know what the two most important commandments in the Bible are? We're going to read this verse. Matthew 22:37-39 says, Jesus replied, love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and greatest commandment. And the second is like this, love your neighbor as yourself. So God says, love me and love your neighbor. So when I used to think of my neighbor, I would think of the person who lived right next door to me. But now I think of my neighbor as anyone who God places in my life. So for you guys, this could be the people who live next door. This could be your classmates, those on your sports teams, those that you hang out with at the park. There's so many different people who are considered our neighbors. And God doesn't say, love those who play the same games as you, or speak the same language, or eat the same food. No, God says, love your neighbor as yourself. So how can we do this well? Well, on the next slide, we have a few different ideas. So one thing that's really easy but really powerful, you guys, is prayer. So we can pray for those around the world who are still waiting for homes. And we can also pray for those who are coming to Chicago that they would feel welcomed and they would be able to make a lot of friends here. The second thing we can do is learn, just like you're doing right now. And there's lots of books that you can read about refugees and that you can also have conversations. You can talk with your friends and your family members and tell other people what you're learning. And then the last thing you can do is be a good friend. So most people that are coming here from other countries aren't necessarily refugees, but it's still important to love those that are different from us, right? So you can ask your friends, hey, tell me about your family. Can I try the food that your family makes? Tell me about the things that you like to do for fun. And so these are all different ways that we can really be good friends and good neighbors.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to things about refugees and ways to love refugees more. And I hope that you also remember from this morning that kids are powerful. We've had kids just like you guys who have told others about refugees and how many refugees there are in the world and how long they have to wait for new homes. And they've gotten their whole families involved in working with refugees. And they've gotten their whole churches and their whole schools involved with working with refugees. So you guys do have a lot of power to tell other people about what refugees are going through every day and how you can help them. So actually, we're going to have some information for you guys. If you want to get your families involved, your teachers can give you a flyer about refugees. It's on a board back there. And also, if you're a parent, you can look up Exodus World Service online to learn how you guys can welcome refugees and make them feel like friends here. Thank you guys for being such good listeners. And also, I want to finish by praying for refugees. So if you can bow your heads with me, we'll pray. Dear God, we pray for all the people who have to leave their homes just like Jesus did when he was little. God, please show us ways that we can love our neighbors this week. Keep us safe as we travel for Thanksgiving and we get to see family and friends. Amen. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everyone. So great to be with you.